I said in '08 repeatedly, because the media never covered Barack Obama's radical and extremist background with Acorn and being a disciple of Alinsky and Frank Marshall Davis. Really, 20 years in the pulpit, in the pews of the pulpit of GD America and Pastor Reverend Wright, hating America, but he didn't know. And starting his political career in the home of an unrepentant terrorist. He only got asked about that one time, Barack Obama in '08. And I said journalism is dead in '08. And today, Donald J. Trump buried it because there's no honesty, no truthfulness, no integrity whatsoever. Michael Cohen is in studio with us. He's an executive vice president, special counsel to Donald J. Trump, and also, full disclosure, a personal friend of mine long before this election ever started. I retweeted.
Well, there goes my reputation now, Sean. If it couldn't have been worse as a result of this fake reporting,
you got to start. You got to start it right away.
I'm feeling really good now, thanks to Mr. Trump. There's that old expression: where do you go to get your reputation back? You go to Donald Trump, who then has a press conference in front of the entire world who was watching it, and he turns around and he tells CNN, who did a disgraceful thing, not just to Mr. Trump, but to me as well, that they owe all of us an apology. They owe the American people an apology.
You're mostly a behind-the-scenes guy, but you did come out and do interviews this election season, and I know it's not your first love, because you've worked for Donald Trump all these years behind the scenes, and I know the type of person you are. You roll up your sleeves every day, you go to work, you do your 14, 16 hours a day, and you go home, and there's a lot of work to do at home.
Interesting, because there's a tremendous number of people, even before the campaign, that come after Donald Trump. For whatever the reason may be, I feel very loyal to him, to the company, to the children, Melania. And I got to be honest with you, it needs to stop. The man won the election. Let him be the great Donald Trump, president of the United States of America, that he will be.
This actually hurts you. I'm looking at you, and I know you so well. This affects you. This affected you.
Well, because it doesn't affect me personally, but it affects me now because it affected my wife, my children, my in-laws, and it's based on fake news. They did it in order to create a salacious story that they can run with over and over and over again. I mean, breaking news: Michael Cohen in Prague with Kremlin GSO agents. Well, shouldn't somebody have at least called me and asked me, were you ever in Prague? Because the answer is no.
Well, last night, I checked with you, and then I saw your tweet, and then I retweeted your passport, and then all of these news people. I went back later and I looked at what some of the comments were. Well, the passport's not open, Hannity, and I'm like, okay, but it's been confirmed by Michael Cohen, and I've known him for years, and I happen to know where you are.
Yes,
we went over the date, because your son is a top recruit in Major League Baseball. He's a pitcher. He's tried out for the Yankees, the Mets. I don't want to tell all the teams. You were out in Los Angeles, and he was in a tryout.
That's correct. He was meeting with a baseball coach.
And you have sent me many videos of your son pitching, and he's an amazing pitcher, talented pitcher, and you spent a lot of time, as much free time as you have with him, and you were out there at the given time you were supposed to be in Prague.
Right. It happened to also be my 50th birthday.
Right.
And my daughter was already out there with some friends. So instead of having her come back, and we needed to go to the school in order to meet, because my son's only 17, a junior in school. So we went out there, and I have 1,000 friends that live in LA. So all of a sudden now, at this time, I'm in Prague. And I'm saying, if they would have called me, I would have explained to them. I've never been to Prague. I've also never been to Russia.
I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, it's got to be a little disconcerting. And then when it came out this morning, that was some other Michael Cohen.
What a shocker that there's another Michael Cohen. Can a Michael Cohen who's listening to your show right now call in? Right?
I told you this before. One of my best friends growing up was named Michael Cohen.
What a shocker.
What a shock. I've never heard that name before.
Right.
It's so uncommon. I'm sure you had a lot of Sean Hannity friends.
No, I didn't.
No, you don't even have one now, do you?
I'm trying to get rid of you.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Sean, I got to be honest, Sean, you have been, in all fairness, you have been a beacon for Mr. Trump, for the campaign, and it's very rare that people thank you, because everybody's so busy, especially now in the transition, but on behalf of, obviously, Mr. Trump, the campaign, myself, you actually deserve a thank you. And
I don't deserve a thank you.
America is going to thank you after Donald Trump proves to be the great president that he's going to be.
Number one, I made a promise to my audience, and I kept my promise. And number two, Michael, in spite of what people think and write about me, I'm a guy that 2 decades of my life did blue-collar work. And I remember where I come from. And I have a belief in God. And I could tell you that the agenda that he's proposing, originalists on the court, vetting refugees, repatriation money coming back from multinational corporations at a low rate, energy independence, 7 brackets to 3, a 15% corporate rate, one of the lowest in the industrialized world versus one of the highest, and energy independence, independence and education back to the states and protecting our borders and having a foreign policy that's predicated on strength.
And don't forget about rebuilding the inner cities.
Look at behind you. See the Conservative Solution Caucus. That's 2014.
Yeah, let's also not forget about rebuilding the inner cities.
Which you, by the way, you introduced me to Pastor Darrell Scott, who's become one of my best friends.
That's correct. Well, that's the type of person that Darrell is. I met Darrell in 2011 at a big meeting that was put together by evangelists, Paula White, as well as Dr. Creflo Dollar and others.
You put all of this together, the Diversity Coalition you built.
We have over 12 million people. Yeah. And with the recent now addition of a gentleman that was no fan of Mr. Trump's initially, Javier Palomares from the USHCC, the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And I gave him my commitment that this administration wants to work with everyone. What's the goal? Mr. Trump's goal
to win
is always to win, but Mr. Trump's goal is to do whatever is necessary to make America great again, to put Americans first. And that includes Hispanics. It includes African Americans. It includes Sikhs and Muslims. Donald Trump has no animus towards anyone, and that was the basis of what the National Diversity Coalition for Trump was all about. And we are now over 12 million strong and growing every day.
Is there anybody that you know of possibly within the campaign or around Donald Trump or maybe at the third, fourth, fifth, sixth level down that anybody knows talk to anybody in Russia?
No. There's no relationship. The last time that there was any activity between the Trump organization, actually it really wasn't even the Trump organization. It was the Miss Universe pageant, was held in Moscow.
When was that?
6 years ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Yeah. What do you make of, and you and I had a private discussion.
You know the reason, Sean, why they did it? Because the whole hacking issue was coming to arrest Kellyanne Conway, who's fabulous, and Sean Spicer, another fantastic guy, put this whole nonsense to bed, and they didn't want it to go to bed. So how do you bring it back to life? You recreate a relationship between Mr. Trump and Putin, and then you create some sort of salacious story, which reads like a bad The Americans episode, and you run with it, which is exactly what CNN did. And I'll say it 1,000 times. From Jeff Zucker all the way to, to you name it, whichever host is doing it, they owe Mr. Trump an apology, they owe my family an apology, and they owe the American people an apology. And your listeners should demand it.
I agree, but I wouldn't hold your breath, because that's not how these news organizations work. They double down on stupid. That tends to be the trend that we see.
And you can never fight
WikiLeaks,
stupid.
a lot of people were upset that I actually went to London and the Ecuadorian embassy and I interviewed Julian Assange and I asked him point blank, did you ever talk to Donald Trump? No. Any surrogate of Donald Trump's? No. Did you ever talk to Vladimir Putin? No. Did you ever talk to anybody else? No. That's associated with Putin. Now, all I can do is ask the questions, and that at least that gives people information and an opportunity to decide for themselves. And WikiLeaks has never been wrong in 10 years. BuzzFeed was wrong yesterday and CNN was wrong yesterday.
Yes, and they've been wrong throughout the entire campaign. And it's not the first time that CNN has done this.
What do you make of the collusion? What do you make of the collusion? We discovered how they betrayed Bernie Sanders, how questions were given to Hillary before town halls and debates, how the media from the New York Times, Political, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and all these big news organizations, with the exclusion of Fox. Could you imagine if I ever gave Donald Trump questions before an interview with him? Even though I'm a partisan, I'm somebody that gives my opinion, they would go nuts.
Of course they would go nuts, because it's not what they want. See, they only see it the way that they want to see it. There's no rational reason for giving somebody a question in advance to a debate. You ruin the purpose of a debate, and it's unfair. And this is as just one example amongst many of CNN and the Democratic Party's failure. And the American people see this failure, and it's why Donald Trump won in a landslide victory.
Let me ask you this. Ben Smith of BuzzFeed, and I tweeted out last night, I said, this isn't going to end well for CNN. I said, hashtag CNN epic fail. Did you see that, Ethan? Yeah. Anyway, as you've probably seen this evening, this is Ben Smith. We published a secret dossier making explosive, unverified allegations about Donald Trump in Russia. I want to briefly explain to you how we made the decision to publish it. We published it, which Ken Bensinger obtained through a characteristically ferocious reporting, so that, as we wrote, Americans can make up their own mind. Don't they have an obligation to vet the material, especially if it includes such salacious information about prostitutes and, I'll use the words in the dossier, golden showers, for crying out loud?
Personally, I would have liked to have seen Mr. Trump give out golden shower heads to the press today at the meeting. I thought that would have been man, classic.
I think he gave him a pretty big beatdown.
Let me tell you, he sure did, and good for Mr. Trump. It's why I love the man as much as I do, and why I respect him the way I do. This man doesn't back down to anyone. He's not going to back down to government leaders. He's not going to back down to pressure.
They don't know how to handle him.
Why should they? He's going to charge through to get his agenda done, and it's going to put money in the pockets of every American. He's going to rebuild the economy. He's going to bring jobs back. He's going to do it through repatriation, as you talked about.
Energy independence, repealing, replacing Obamacare.
Wow, these are all by the way, these are all terrible, terrible things.
Yeah, they
right?
are.
These are terrible things for America.
Yeah, we're going to make money.
We should be energy dependent, right? We should allow the Middle East to continue to skyrocket prices of oil so that they can get rich, that we can end up going broke, which is exactly what we should be protecting the whole world free of charge. Donald Trump thinks like what he is. He's an amazing businessman. He has a mind which is very different than that of the standard politician, and he is done. It's why he ran. He said, I can actually fix this country. I know what I'm doing.
And as we learned today, he's giving up a lot of money.
He sure is.
A lot of money. And you would know more of the details.
And let me tell you,
can you give me the name of that guy that he was going to do the $2 billion deal with? I'll take it.
Sure, because he wants to open up a Hannity hotel. Bring your own towels and soap. and bring some shampoo from somebody else's hotel.
You know, I can only imagine the abusive comments I'd get if I was a CNN host right now.
Though I do have to say, I saw a segment Jake Tapper did where he argued on behalf that this is wrong and that they were.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it yesterday.
No, that he was not.
No, he was full hysteria mode yesterday.
Sure.
Now he's covering his ass today.
Well, you know what? I'm thankful that at least he's covering.
Oh, okay.
For today.
Okay.
You know what? At least somebody from CNN
there's
has
no
done
excuse for what they did. CNN put out a statement today. It was disgusting. Listen, I'm going to send you a MyPillow. I know you. You didn't sleep an hour last night, did you?
No, again,
because I know you.
It's not because of the attacks on me. I have very thick skin. And it's not
you're
the
worried
first
about
one.
Your family.
Sure, and it's wrong to do to somebody else's family.
So Mike Lindell's the inventor of MyPillow, and he's a personal friend of mine. I have insomnia. I've spoken to you, I think, at 3 a.m. before. But anyway, so since I've got MyPillow, I do fall asleep faster. I stay asleep longer. I am going to mail 2 MyPillows to your house so you can get some rest. You look pretty stressed out after a night of no sleep. We do appreciate you.
And you know what? I can actually use those pillows, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I have lost a lot of sleep, and I continue to lose a lot of sleep because my mind can't shut down. I'm looking to see the things that they've done over the course of the last couple of weeks or the last 24, 48 hours, and I'm concerned that they're going to continue this nonsense once Mr. Trump is inaugurated.
You and I have discussed this. They are going to try to destroy Donald Trump, and there's no other words that need to be spoken.
And I'm going to make this statement to your audience. There's no way in the world I'm going to let it happen.
Well, you know, you're kind of like Linda to me. It's her job to worry. It's my job to do my show and her to clean up the mess. You really look out for Mr. Trump, I think, more than he looks out for himself. But anyway, you can get your very own MyPillow. MyPillow.com, 800-919-6090. Promo code Hannity. You'll get 2 for the price of 1. MyPillow, the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Good news, U.S. jobs. It's made here in the USA, has a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Or you can spend more sleepless nights staring at the ceiling or watching Hillary Clinton's speech reruns on a pillow that does not work for you. Or go to MyPillow.com or call 800-919-6090. Mention my name, Hannity, 2 for the price of 1. The day those pillows arrive, Michael Cohen, you'll start getting the kind of peaceful, restful, comfortable, deep-healing, recuperative sleep you've been craving and deserve. MyPillow.com, promo code Hannity. Michael, good to see you. Thank you. We'll see you on TV tonight.
Yes, thank you so much, Sean.